So we're now going to show you our State Watch Center, or our dispatch, which is our 24/7 point of operation every single day, regardless of blue skies or storms. So for that reason, we're not actually filming in the room because they're actively monitoring statewide events. But I wanted to talk to you about our State Watch Center regardless. These professionals are on staff 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and our dispatchers are always at a minimum of 2 dispatchers on duty at any given time. So that allows not just for safety, but for depth of bench should things get really busy during an otherwise normal day. Our dispatchers do several critical functions for the state. We first of all dispatch for 6 state agencies out of our State Watch Center. MEMA is one of them. Obviously, they dispatch all of our assets, our command and control assets, our communication assets, and our field staff. They also dispatch for the Department of Fire Services. Specifically, they dispatch for any hazmat event and any special operations requests that the Department of Fire Services may be asked to support. So that includes things like rehab units, drone units, and things of that nature for special operations. Our dispatchers also dispatch for the Department of Conservation and Recreation. They support any wildfire activity across the state and dispatching appropriate resources there and talking to our fire towers across the state. We dispatch for the Department of Environmental Protection for any oil spill that may happen or any response that may be needed into communities for an environmental protection concern. We also support any requests for our state building inspectors. So if you're ever in an elevator, for example, and you see the number that's on the certificate, that number comes back to our dispatch. And then finally, we also support the Department of Agriculture. If there's ever a fire, for example, involving a barn with animals in the barn, we'll notify the Department of Agriculture so they can respond appropriately. If that wasn't enough, our dispatchers also have several other critical and time-sensitive functions. We're the state's primary warning point according to FEMA, so we receive time-sensitive notifications from FEMA and from the National Weather Service for any ongoing all hazards or weather event. We also are in communication with our neighboring states. For example, we are the regional reception point for tsunami alerts and also for any type of an earthquake alert. And if there's an earthquake or a tsunami warning for other coastal New England states, so up north of us, we'll be the contact from those agencies and reach out to the impacted state to let them know and make sure that they're aware. And that's because we're a 24/7 answering point. Finally, we also have the ability to send out both wireless emergency alerts and emergency alert system messages so that when your cell phone goes off about a missing person or a boil water order or some other type of local area emergency, oftentimes it's MEMA dispatchers that are coordinating that message. And we can also activate sirens for Seabrook Station if there's ever an event at the nuclear power plant in New Hampshire. We can alert our residents along the Massachusetts communities with siren activation. So this is our 24/7 operating point, regardless of the day of the week or the time of the year. These guys and girls are here at all times. And they also work with our duty officers after hours so that if there's an event during an otherwise normal day, we can quickly spin up our responses and our network to support any of the communities that may have an impact. So apart from coordinating during emergencies and disasters, the dispatchers on duty also do statewide monitoring every hour of the day. So if there's a fire that breaks out in a community, they're listening to it. If there's a law enforcement activity that's occurring, they're listening to it. And oftentimes that allows us to have situational awareness very quickly upon an event occurring so that we can get ahead of any response needs. They're listening to things to make sure that agencies we dispatch for are notified when it's appropriate, or that if MEMA has to take action, they're also monitoring so that we can coordinate with our local emergency management directors.